Have you met her?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Have You Met Her? Today I have the lovely Tracy Tilbury joining me on the podcast. She's a... This is going to be great outtakes. Great outtakes.
I'm a. I didn't even.
What are you, Tracy?
I don't know why I am. What day is it today?
Oh my God, I think it's Thursday. Right, okay. Mediator, insights practitioner, and HR consultant. And the myth that we are busting today is if we've had the conversation, then all must be sorted. Tracy, tell us what it means to be a mediator. How did you get into what you do? Where did it start? What's your story?
So this started back in when I was working corporate, and I was a HR. I was just learning actually my HR profession, and I've just done my CIPD, and I wanted to do something else.
Mhm.
And one of the things I found was, even back then, too many years ago, workplace conflict happened regardless. So I looked up courses and I went on an ACAS course.
Is it something that you came across a lot when you were in HR? Is that what kind of sparked it for you?
Yeah, I think, well, just the people aspect for me is all about the people aspect and making sure that there's harmony, not conflict.
Yeah.
That there are safe spaces for people to be able to voice their concerns, and also a good culture in the workplace.
Yeah.
So some of that is nipping all of this in the bud before it actually escalates into a full-blown grievance or whatever, that, or people leaving, or culture goes down the pan because people are unhappy. So I thought, do you know what? I'll have a look, see what I can find. And I found ACAS did their, and ACAS is my Bible as such.
I definitely went on it a lot as well in my time in HR. Quick.
Yeah,
Right
exactly.
on that.
And it's definitely a resource that I would use. And they actually approached me from here's the courses that we do, those kinds of things. I was like, I fancy being a workplace mediator. So I went on a 5-day course with them through all my training. It's quite intense. Thoroughly enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. And then came away with my qualification. So I'm ACAS qualified a workplace mediator. One of the things I noticed, because I started off as HR consulting, one of the things I noticed was people were having problems with, or there were workplace issues. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to tap back into my workplace mediation. And I found it really, it's quite a lot of people would almost go, when I go networking and I say I'm a workplace mediator, they're like, are you? I really could do with a chat with you, because normally there is something going on.
Okay.
And it's about capturing it earlier enough so that it's not an issue.
Yeah.
And it doesn't grow out of control.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really.
Was there like a case or something that happened specifically in, like, when you were doing HR consulting that made you really trigger and think, right, I want to be a mediator?
I had a contract, and what I found was that there was some conflict going on, and it wasn't being addressed.
Right.
And I just thought, I can help here. I can support. So that's kind of where it came from. And I just thought, I'm going to grow that outside of where I was contracting and see what the response was. And actually, every time I say, most times when I go networking now, they all go, are you? I'd love to have a chat with you. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, right, yes, let's have a chat, and let's have a chat before it explodes.
Yeah.
So, for example, somebody came to me 6 to 8 weeks ago and said, we've got a niggle. I said, that's great. Capture it now.
Yeah.
And then I heard nothing. So I followed it up, and they were like, oh, no, we're dealing with it. I was like, right, okay.
Oh, how are you dealing with it? Oh, no.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, no.
And then they came back to me 2 weeks ago and said, oh, our CEO had a word. Okay. And it was okay for a little while. And now it's not. And I was like, right, okay. And actually, it's grown arms and legs rather than actually, So had we have seen this 6 or 8 weeks ago, it could have been
Something different.
Yeah. And now it's a formal mediation because a grievance is going in.
I think it's that, oh, we know best, or it's fine, we're going to sort it. But nothing actually gets done. It's just a matter of, oh, let's just try and put in some quick fire, or what can we do for you? Let's even give you this instead, just to push it out the way.
Exactly. So, and sometimes, and mediation is a skill in itself.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's about hearing, it's about listening, it's about understanding and what's being needed in the room.
Because as an HR advisor, I feel like mediation isn't something that we would like immediately think about, even in like a disciplinary or an appeal meeting or whatever's happening. I mean, it makes sense because we are that middle person, that neutral party. So the expectation is on us to mediate a situation, but I can't say that that's kind of the first thought in that, right? Knowing the skills, obviously we try and stay neutral, but actually knowing the skills that are used in mediation isn't something that I feel like people would go to straight off the bat. And especially if you have to then go and do a course on it, then surely it's not something that's...
No, it's not.
No.
So the one thing that I would say is, not only that, but when I was in corporate, what I found was if I said I can mediate, they'd be like, well, HR, you're not going to be fair. You're going to be on the business.
Oh,
you're
no.
going to be on the business side. You're not going to be on my side. You're not going to listen. And I'm like,
us against them.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I did get a little bit of pushback, to be fair. It's valid because sometimes when you go through a process, if it's a disciplinary process, for example, there's a reason why we're going through that process.
Yeah.
Normally because there's something that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily in favour of the employee.
Yeah.
Therefore, when you say, well, now I can mediate, they're like, hang on a second, you've just been in my disciplinary or something.
Yeah, of course.
HR, it's that HR.
Yeah.
So, that bad labelling of you're not on my side anyway.
Mm-hmm. Did you come across that a lot in HR when you were...
I came across it occasionally. Occasionally I got the pushback of, oh, you're not going to be impartial.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Even as a consultant?
I was a consultant, very different now.
Yeah.
Very different. Yeah, so when I was working as HR.
Yeah.
But now, no, very, very different because I can almost take off one hat, put another one on. But normally when people come to me, it's about mediation. So my HR sits in the background then, and it's about that mediation process.
Because I've really struggled with that side of HR, is that it is the us against them kind of situation, and it's not recognized and it's not talked about a lot. I know I've seen a lot of people speaking a lot more about it, neurodivergent HR employees and people actually even specializing in that field now as well, even as consultants, because you do really feel like you're going through a lot. You're the ones that are the backbone of the things going on in the business, but people don't see that. They just think you're the enemy. Right. So situations happen, and I really didn't enjoy that side of it at all. Like, I never wanted to be the bad person, and the like empathetic, the way that I can be was never shown, and people really just assumed I was this really blunt person, and that's just not who I am. I'm an extremely passionate, kind person, but I could never show that. Did you struggle with things like that as well? Yeah. So there is a boundary and there is a line, and you have to make sure. For me, I made sure I had splinters in my arse like you would not believe, because I sat on the fence constantly. Yeah. Because it's not just about the employee, it's not just about the business, it's finding a solution for both that works. Sometimes directors or managers would say, for the love of God, Tracy, make a decision. I'm like, hang on a second. Yeah. This has got to be right. Especially when employees are coming to us saying, I've got an issue here. Yeah. Okay, so how do we make it right? Let's try and make it right first before we involve a process. So, for example, most grievance policies will say, try and get it resolved informally first. Yeah. But how often does that actually happen? They normally go straight to formal. Yeah, straight away. So the perception for HR is normally not a great one. Because they see us as being the bad people, as you just said. Yeah. And funny enough, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday who said, oh, I don't like HR.
And I was like, right, okay.
It's
Most
the
people
go-to,
do,
isn't it?
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't like HR.
And I was like, totally hear what you're saying. I totally get that. And he said, because I was made redundant. And I was like, I totally hear that too.
Yeah.
Because the amount of redundancy processes that I've been involved with or I've done, I understand. However, what I said was, it's not our decision, it's the business
Oh my
decision.
goodness. Those statements, like, people just don't want to hear it, do
No.
they? And even like line managers, it's always like they protect their line managers. Their line managers, though, they're fine, even though they're the ones that are supposed to be doing the disciplinaries and everything like that.
Right.
But still, it's like, oh no, it's HR.
Right.
It's all HR's fault.
Yeah.
Right?
And all we're doing is following the process, making sure it's fair, making sure it's right. I mean, don't get me wrong, that 9 times out of 10, we're all great and great at HR, but there's the odd HR person out there that is a little bit harsh and is a little bit. But do you know what? We've got to work within the law.
And I think that was me. I was very, like, because I am very black and white, and I have always been very justice sensitive. And if I'm taught something, in my head, it was always, well, this is the policy, this is the procedure, this is how I've been taught. I can't stray from this, because what if I do something wrong? What if I get told off? And when you work in HR as well, you are liable, right? Could be taken to tribunal. And I think that was really scary for me. And so I relied on sticking with the policies and procedures, but I really found it a challenge to work in the grey and to understand and see things from different angles, because I felt like people were too fluffy almost. And because I was so the other way, I couldn't meet in the middle, because everything seemed to change every single time. And I was like, where is the structure in any environment? Why are things always changing? And I know now that it's my autistic side that plays a lot into that, because I recognize that. But it took a lot to have that understanding, even though people would say for a long time, oh, you need to be more fluffy or you need to be more understanding. Actually, I didn't get that until somebody that actually supported me was able to show me that in a different way.
Right, exactly. I think that, so I worked with somebody who had autism, and they came to me, their manager actually came to me and said, we've got somebody who's struggling.
Is this when you were in a business?
Yeah. We've got somebody who's struggling, and we're finding that her communication style is abrupt.
Right.
And it's to the point, and it can come across as aggressive. I was like, right, okay. And she said, I really need your support. Fine. And at the same time, said employee raised a grievance because she felt she wasn't being heard.
Yeah.
She wasn't being listened to. And actually, she felt that other people were being rude. So I met with her, and then I had a long conversation with her. And it turns out that she'd just been diagnosed with autism. And she was on her own learning path of what that meant.
Right. It feels very similar to me, to be honest. But I was the HR person.
Yeah, exactly. And it's difficult, because I think her perception of how she was coming across wasn't the perception of what was happening to other people, their perception.
That's the thing, isn't it?
So it was about that listening, understanding. And then when I spoke to the manager about it, I said, listen, this is about education and about having the same people in the same room and understanding what this employee is going through. But she also needs to hear it from the other people too. But finding a way to work together that isn't felt as if it's abrasive or it's direct, and it's also finding a solution for people to work out how to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And actually worked really, really well, because it is about education. It's about understanding what that person needs. And when I'm going into a mediation, I know 9 times out of 10, I normally ask them what they need.
Yeah.
What is it you want? What is it you want out of this?
Is that the employee that you ask, or the employer?
Well, to be fair, if the employer comes to me, it's because 2 parties are bickering. or something's not landing, or they're not working together very well. So there's something bubbling under the surface. So I normally have a conversation with both parties. Let's say it's two parties.
Yeah.
Because it normally is.
Do you ever get employees come to you directly?
In my HR world, yes. Not as a consultant. But I'd encourage it.
Yeah.
No, but that's
interesting.
Yeah, definitely encourage it, because I think it's, the more people I talk to now, the more like, you'd have been involved with
the situation.
Yeah,
absolutely. The same. I feel the same about situations I've been.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to have that neutral ground there, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I met a lady earlier on this week who said to me, I was made redundant and I wish you'd have been in my corner. I wish you'd have been there.
Yeah.
18 months ago. She said, I went through hell. And that's the thing that mediation, people forget about mediation, the emotional side of things. It's draining, it's exhausting, because you're making yourself almost vulnerable in a process where you want to be heard and listened to.
Yeah.
And this comes back to hearing and listening.
Yeah.
So for me, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
I had a situation 2 or 3 months ago when I met the two parties. We were coming together to resolve it face to face. And one of the parties turned up and said, I've been up since 4 a.m. worrying.
Yeah.
What's today going to ring? All those kinds of things. And then I did my best to ensure that I said to her, listen, the process is neutral. I gave her all the supportive words that she needed to hear at the time, but also ensuring that I'm still neutral. But by the end of the day, they'd worked out a resolution and a working contract for themselves.
That's amazing, yeah.
And off they went, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that brings me satisfaction in what I do, because it's seeing those people resolve that conflict.
Yeah, because like you said, the emotional toll that it causes, and the same even just for like disciplinaries or investigations in general, the emotional trauma that comes along with it sometimes for both parties, I think, because even as yourself, you must go through, like, it must be a lot to handle and take home at the end of the day, having heard these stories and people's situations, especially when if you take it on board yourself, and you really feel that energy.
Exactly. And when I think you're also challenged with a disability or being neurodivergent, that also comes into play, because I need to understand what that person needs. Why do you need extra time to have a think about what's going on? Do you need time to work out what's being said to you? So normally in a mediation process, I would reframe so that the other person that's hearing it can relate to, instead of listening to what's going on here, they might not necessarily be listening to the message, and so when it lands, it's not always what's being heard. So I reframe. So I need to understand if that's, do you need additional time? Make sure you come prepared, have your questions, and have everything that you need to hand, so that they're feeling supported throughout that process, because it's easy to forget that people have additional challenges. But when you delve into mediation, I need to understand what's going on.
Especially when they're like hidden disabilities. I mean, you mentioned about the case when you were in HR and you had somebody with autism, but I can imagine that a lot of the cases that you have do have perhaps some neurodivergent situation going on there with the communication challenges. And I mean, how does that look as a mediator? Sometimes I might not even know. Sometimes I might be high masking. Is that something you feel like you pick up on, or do you go in with an overall kind of set ground rules or understanding when you go into something about how it's going to play out, and then go from there?
You never know how it's going to play out, because people are very, very different. So you have your ground rules regardless.
In my head, I'm like, everything is black and white. This is how it's going to go. And then as soon as it starts to deter, I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, so and that's the piece, because everybody brings their own emotions to the table. They bring their own personality to the table, their own communication styles to the table. I've done insights as well, so I'm pretty well versed with how the color energies work,
Yep.
and I can pick up on what that looks like in people. I'm also experienced with neurodivergence, ADHD, those kinds of things, and interactions, not just in my personal life, but also with working in HR and seeing the different aspects to what people can bring to the table. So, and I believe I'm empathic as well. So I pick up really well on people's, if you read my own, insights profile, it's about me being empathic and being able to relate and understand people across the table. So 9 times out of 10, I can pick that up. I have a meeting with them first. So before they come face to face, I have a separate meeting with them, normally to ask them what they want as an outcome. In that process, I gauge pretty quickly what's going on. So by the time I'm coming to a face to face, I've got an idea of what I'm hearing from each party. Normally, it's about the fact that they're not being listened to, or the way that they're being communicated to, whatever that looks like, is at odds with how they at their own perception. So it is about finding the space and keeping that space for them to be heard. And with that neurodivergence, I'd like to think I'm pretty good at picking up on that as well. So that if there are challenges, then I can pick that up. But I always check in. I always check if there's anything I need to be aware of that can support them. And again, asking them, what is it you need?
Yeah,
what is it you need
I think that's
me?
the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, support that's put in place, for whether neurodivergent or not, it's by universal design, really, isn't it? So support that would support a neurotypical person is most likely going to support a neurodivergent person if it is really about listening. And like you said, the first question being, what can I do to support you? My only thing there would be, if I was put in a situation where it was like, tell me how I can support you, if my mind is already overwhelmed and all over the place, I would often not be able to get my words out and to explain how I feel or what would support me. I really struggled to explain what I needed to be put in place. And when it would come to me, it would be in times when it wasn't going to be any use, and then I wouldn't write it down, and then I wasn't prepared anyway. So I think that it needs to be from the offset. And I think it needs to be the right tools. What tools would you say are important in those situations for anybody, for universal design that's going to support neurodivergent and neurotypical people?
It's making sure that they feel safe, that psychological safety of what's going on in this process. I'm the neutral person. I'm the one that will not take sides, won't decide what's right or wrong in any situation. So for me, those ground rules are really important to explain that the process is confidential. There is safety. It is what comes to me normally stays with me, because normally when they do their face-to-face, it's the conversation between the two of them. It's got nothing to do with me.
No.
It's about that reframing and supporting the way forward and a conciliation somewhere along the line. So tools for me is making sure that people feel that psychological safety. So understanding that I'm not going to blame them. I'm not going to take sides. And I'm here to listen to what they've got to say. So for me, that's a big tool in itself to provide to them. And for me, I'm a listener. So normally what happens in that first initial call is I get everything.
Right.
Once there's those floodgates open, I get everything. Because it's that safe space. And as such, I'm able to work out from there how I can support both parties, navigate the way forward.
It's nice that people feel safe with you in that way. I think that's important. I make sure that the workshops that I hold as well, that people feel safe, content. I built it around the Danish idea of hygge, which is about being secure, content, cozy, safe in your environment that you're in with people that you're around, that you feel comfortable to share, and you don't feel like you're going to be judged in any way. So 100%, I think that is really important. What about like active listening and stuff? Are there like tools or tips that you would give managers and employees themselves that could support?
Yes, so I have just designed a conflict to calm course.
Oh, amazing.
So it's all about recognizing conflict.
Okay.
What that means for you. So again, it's not looking for the blame. It's not looking for taking sides, but it's listening. And that active listening is your body language, how you become across. So if you're open, and somebody's talking to you, but if you're sat like this,
if you look,
or you're not even looking at them, there's no eye contact, or you're staring off thinking about your shopping list for the day, people are going to know. People are going to pick up on that.
Yeah.
So it's about that body language of being open.
But what's your neurodivergent and you don't eye contact and the
very true, very true. And I think it's recognizing that for a manager to recognize that there is some neurodivergent challenges going on here. And again, it's that education piece. First of all, asking, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
What is it you need?
What tools are going to support you?
Right.
Even like fidget toys while they're talking, some distraction, because that actually helps people listen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes. I guess like ensuring that things have been taken in by following up too.
Right. So yes, doing what you say you're going to do, because the minute you don't, that trust goes.
Yeah.
So there's no point in having a conversation and then disappearing off into the ether somewhere and saying and giving lip service. If you're going to have a conversation, make sure you follow up. Make sure you do what you say you're going to do on the tin. So otherwise you lose that trust that you've just gained from somebody talking to you and opening up to you.
Yeah.
It's almost like, what was the point of that?
The point? Yeah.
The point is you make sure that you keep those regular contacts. And that for me is about being a manager anyway.
Yeah.
And keeping in touch with your employees and understanding what they need.
Yeah.
And holding that safe space. And then recognizing that you may need to call in a mediator because the conflict that's going on may be too far gone or it may be too complex. And actually taking yourself, managers aren't mediators.
No.
Taking yourself out of that, going recognizing it from now on. I think I need a mediator to come in and support. But there are definitely ways of. So I've got some examples and some exercises that I'm going to do with managers that basically give them almost like role play.
Okay.
Into those situations and understanding what's going on. But 9 times out of 10, it's about that first. Let's talk. Let's understand what's going on. So the manager's course, some of it is about understanding the situation. So communicating the situation, the behaviour, the impact. So this was the situation on Tuesday. You came in this meeting and slammed the door. The behaviour was you slammed it. It felt like the perception was you were in a bad mood.
Yeah.
So the impact was by the time you sat down, everybody was a bit on edge. So rather than it's not a blame or it's a conversation about that impact of sometimes that behaviour that goes on.
Yeah.
And having an honest conversation about it.
Right.
So the course is about looking for early resolution, the early signs of conflict, and just having the honest conversations, recognizing what is and isn't conflict, or what is a role of a manager and a mediator. The myth busting of there's no blame. Yeah. You need to hold this safe space, all those kinds of things, rather than having the chat. Oh, I thought it's done.
Yeah.
No, it's not done.
Yeah.
It's so for me, the tools for the managers is going to be about having those early conversations and giving them the tools, the situation, behaviour, impact tools to have those conversations.
And like you said about the idea of slamming the door, actually in that situation, it would be for the manager to not come at it with and I know it can be a challenge if they're already frustrated about something, but not come at it with the anger or the kind of idea that they've done it because they're a bad person or deliberately. Actually, we don't know what the reasons were for them doing it in the first place, right? So it's about understanding the reasons for them doing that in the first place. And that's something that I never would have thought about before. I would have gone straight to, well, that's completely inappropriate behavior, right? But now, and I can look at it and can be like, okay, well, there must be something going on for that person to have done that. And there is a difference. And that's where I think the lines can be a bit blurred. It's like some people probably do just take the piss a bit because they've always taken the piss and just do what they want. But there's probably a reason for that too, right? There's a reason for everything. So the honest communication and, you know, actually saying to somebody, well, what's going on? How can I support you? And that's why it's important that managers have regular conversations with their people where they actually actively listen to them, right? To understand what's going on in their lives, be involved, because we spend so much of our time in the workplace that, you know, there is things that happen in people's lives as well that I think that we need to be aware of, and not sit in this Stone Age idea of, well, your home life stays at home and your work life is here, because actually it all integrates eventually. If we spend most of our time with the people we work with, then
Right, exactly.
yeah.
And not only that, but I think that being in the workplace, having those relationships in the workplace are also key.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they can also cross the lines too.
Yeah.
And if, for example, somebody's going through a really rough patch at home,
Mm-hmm.
you don't necessarily, some people will try and leave it at the door,
Mm-hmm.
but actually it will still impact because they're bottling it up.
Yeah.
They're not expressing how they're feeling. And that can come out in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So having an honest conversation with somebody, just saying, so I bought my daughter a little badge that says it goes from a scale from 1 to 10 as to whether to talk to her or not.
Right. Okay. Is it like with the smiley face?
Yeah. So just in case.
Just so I know how you are.
Yeah, right, exactly. And when one of my very first HR jobs, I put an Eeyore and a Winnie the Pooh on the door.
Right.
And depending on which one was covered up as to what was going on in the day.
Yeah.
Now at the time, I got some funny looks and I got some pushback of, what the hell are you doing? But I said, but at least people are aware before they walk into the room, we may be having a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
There may be some stuff going on that we can't talk about, that we can't discuss, but actually we can't always be this cheerful, wonderful person that you see. Cut us some slack occasionally. Yeah. And it's not just, it's everybody. It's not one person. And again, when it comes back to, if I think about the challenges that I've got in my personal life with ADHD, that can go like this very quickly. And it's hard to keep up. So in a workplace, how do people work with that? And that's the bit where I come in and go, okay, let's talk about what people need. Again, that safe space to understand how to make things better and to work better together.
Yeah, that people in general are all going through a lot, like you said. And so,
especially in this economic climate.
And I was going to say as well, generational. I don't know if that has a big impact on the idea of trying to understand and be more empathetic and being compassionate and kind, right? We should be kind with each other. We should be compassionate and with ourselves as well.
Yeah.
We're always shouting about how important it is to be compassionate with ourselves, because the more we hold compassion and kindness, the more we can look at these situations and perhaps see them from another angle. And actually, if people are in a happier workplace because it is kinder and more compassionate and understanding, surely it's going to be running more successfully. Things aren't going to take so long. I think the issue with workplaces that refuse to change with the times and be educated and open to understanding people, they're the ones that fall behind. They're the ones that keep going through these disciplinaries, all of these mediation needs and struggles and tribunals, because they're so stuck in their ways and they're not moving forward. They're not listening to their staff. They're not giving them space they're not providing wellness that needs to be provided. So they're going to keep coming up against the same pushbacks. They're not getting any further. People are worn to the ground, right? Working all day and night. And they're constantly like, yeah, but we can't put anything in place because that's going to take time. But actually, how much time is that going to save you? Just putting some support in place.
And not only that, but it comes from the top. So if that inclusive culture comes from the top, and it's not a tick box exercise, it's not a HR exercise, it's a coming from the top and living and breathing it, then it will feed down, and that's where change can happen.
This is where the problem is though, right? Because if it comes from the top and the top doesn't want to put it in place, then it's never going to change. Right.
And then they're going to have lots of conflict, high turnover, poor morale, poor culture. What's that going to do to their business? It's not great.
It's not.
I think that. So, funny enough, I heard something recently that somebody was saying that the younger generation now come in to the workplace saying, "This is what I need."
Oh my God, I've heard this as well. I love this. I keep seeing people diss them. I keep seeing people diss this Generation C. But I think it's not fair, because actually we're such people pleasers. It means we're so over the top when we go to buy something, or, oh, okay, thank you so much. Have a great day. I hope you're really, really good. But like, how much energy does it take to be so fake? Because that's not who we are. Right. And that is masking in itself. That is masking. If we are all masking and we are all putting on this front, then the exhaustion of having to do that rather than just being ourselves. I think I saw a skit where it was like somebody, like a millennial or someone, went into a coffee shop and the barista was like, what can I get you? And it wasn't like, hi, how are you? I hope you have a great day. It was just like, what can I get you? And the person was like, well, can you tell me what coffees you do? And they were like, the coffees are on the board. And everybody, like millennials, are all in there, or whoever before us, I don't remember, are all in there like, how dare they? That's so rude. Like, why would you not tell them? Or like, they're so abrupt with you, but they're not. They just don't want the bullshit. Like, why are they having to be like so fluffy? Oh my God, I hate fluff. I hate it. I really do. I get that some situations are needed, but I think that like, even in the situations where they're needed, it's just about understanding and reading the room. Maybe it's not about being fluffy. It's about being kind. I think that's kindness and compassion. And there's a difference between that and being fluffy. And that is what people really struggle with. Because oh God, working in retail was an absolute challenge for me. And you can imagine why. I'm very black and white. But I get it. I totally get it.
I think what he was trying to say was, we've now got a generation who know and understand what they want, where they're at. So if they are neurodivergent, they go in and say, I need
because they're not afraid. They're not scared. Right.
Whereas at the moment we've also got an aging workforce where they're that stiff upper lip of being British of, we don't discuss our private life. We don't discuss what's going on here. We leave everything at the door.
Yeah.
And we've got the new generation coming through going, well, actually, I'm A, B, and C, and I expect you to be D, E, and F. What's the issue?
Right. I'm not going to kill myself working like 70 hours a week when I can do my work in this time, and then that's done. If things aren't working well, it's because your systems aren't working well. It's not down to me, right? Oh my God, I wish. Where did they find these amazing people?
Well, if I think about my daughter, she's very vocal about what she needs and what.
I love that.
And actually, even my eldest is very, and she's in psychology now, and she tells people what she needs.
Mm-hmm.
She's very, the difference between the two is hilarious. So my eldest will almost do this is what I need, but in a calm way forward. This is X, Y, and Z, and be quite factual. Whereas my youngest leads with emotion and very much like, oi, this is what I need. And so, but then sometimes people will see that as being rude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than, and she's not rude, she's being direct.
Right.
And it's that.
Because why waste all the energy on
Right.
that stuff?
Right.
Because we are kind. It doesn't stop us from being kind.
No.
But your idea of kind and my idea of kind might be very different. So if your idea of kind is fluffy and like screaming in your face, then
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it has to be kind.
And even now, I think we're all so very different. So, you know, some people are more tolerant than others. Fine. But it's that coming back to being kind. And sometimes people forget to do that.
Yeah.
And they forget to be forgiving
Mm-hmm.
when actually they don't know what is going on and what that other person is dealing with. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. There are times where I'm sat in a car, for example, that don't get me started when I'm behind a wheel. Move out the way! Exactly. However, I'd like to think in my day-to-day life, I try and be supportive and kind as much as I can.
Yeah. But also, if you're the person that isn't kind, if you're the person that is abrupt and rude, or people see as abrupt and rude, actually, there's probably something going on with you as well.
Right, exactly.
So if we were all kinder and more compassionate and spoke nicer to each other, then perhaps that would come out in everything. Perhaps we would then all be a lot nicer and those situations wouldn't happen as much.
Yeah. I saw somebody, a friend of mine this morning, and I said, how's things? How are you? She, yeah, all good. Said, how's work? She, yeah, good. But I could just tell. And I said, what's going on?
Oh.
And she said, I'm perimenopausal.
Oh.
I'm just coming into that. And she then went on to say how she was feeling and what the impact was. And I just said to her, why are you not articulating this anyway? And she said, well, people don't want to know. And I'm like, okay.
And they actively, like business owners, managers, actively act like they don't want to know, right?
Right.
They're not compassionate, they're not kind. And so then these people go through the struggles, they look blunt and whatever, but they're going through so much, right? Yeah.
And it's that understanding. It's that listening and understanding. But yeah, we're all very, very different, and you can't pigeonhole people.
No.
Stop doing it.
And I think if we stopped being so afraid to speak up for our needs, maybe actually, then we would realize that actually there's nothing anybody can do to you. You are an adult and you have a right to live a good life. So if you have a challenge and you need some support, speak up for it and say, you know, what support you need. And if you're challenged by trying to explain that support because you are neurodivergent, then, you know, do you have an advocate? Do you have somebody that can do that for you? Who is your person that you go to, right? Can you reach out online? Can you even speak to your doctor and say, can you be my advocate? Because I'm sure there's people that don't have anybody. Or do you have someone at work that can support you?
Exactly. And it goes back to what do you need?
Yeah.
It's a simple question, but such a loaded support.
Imagine if we went into every week into work and they said the first question would be, what do you need?
Yeah. Right?
What
do you need today?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
Instead of like 20,000 meetings a day that don't benefit anybody. I'm so glad I don't have to sit in meetings anymore. Most pointless things in the world. I heard someone say that they don't have like any meetings, and if they do, it's like once a quarter. Because they're like, what's the need? At the time I sat discussing things in a meeting, I could have sent you a quick email and said this, and then it's gone to everybody to explain what's happening, who's doing what, and that's it.
See, I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that, only because I'm a collaborator.
Yeah.
So having people in a room brings different energy and different tips.
But maybe it's the structure of the meeting then.
Very true.
And would you still think like 2-3 meetings a day is a good thing?
Yeah, and again, if it's about the same thing, no, let's do it in one meeting, get it sorted and get it out.
Right.
But that's the bit where I think get us all in one meeting, calibrate, get a structure, get results, get it out, get a plan in place, and then you can move forward.
But the meetings don't even work for everybody.
Very true. And again, if people I don't feel that they're comfortable to have those conversations, sometimes it's that safe space again of being able to collaborate in a meeting. I try to include everybody, and I appreciate that I'm a pain in the arse in that respect, because I will say, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. If the answer's no, the answer's no.
Mm-hmm.
But I also say I'll leave my door open. So
Yeah.
if there's something that you want to discuss at any point, come and talk to me about it. Sometimes I do still get people coming through the door saying, I didn't feel as if I could say that because.
Yeah.
And normally it's about somebody else's perception of what they're about to say. So normally it's, I don't think I wasn't going to say anything because there's no point, because I'm not being heard.
Right.
So where was this communication breakdown? And then we're back to that underlying conflict that is going on.
Mm-hmm.
That people think, well, I've not said anything because there's no point.
Yeah,
And
I've
then
heard that
becomes-
before.
right.
What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? Nothing's going to change. I said that all the time. What's the point? Because nothing's going to change. I can't keep trying. It's exhausting trying to make a difference when nothing is going to change. Oh, it's just the most
Demoralizing.
feeling for sure. Why and people don't stay in workplaces, do they?
No.
People have started to be like, well, and the job market is not great right now either. And this is having an impact, and people aren't doing well, they're burnt out, they're poorly, but they're still working all these hours, but they're demoralized because they don't have anywhere else to go, or they're afraid that they don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, exactly. Saw somebody early this week had been made redundant, and I was like, oh no. And they're in not a great place. And so I basically said, listen, reach out if you need just a coffee or a chat or something. But I said, listen, you've got this. But it takes a toll.
Yeah, it does.
Redundancy is not great. And
No, it's not a nice process either. I've sat through it before, not for me, but as a HR advisor, and it's not nice. And yeah, I just think that if there was support that seemed more accessible outside of the workplace, in the idea that work is not working for us, and we're in a bad place emotionally, we need to get out of that environment ASAP. But where do we go? Because I think that's the fear, isn't it? I can't just leave without having another job, because then I don't have a job. So we're staying in something that is really making us poorly.
Right.
Because what's the alternative? To go on universal credit, to go on benefits. But that's scary because, where's the information about that? Where's the, simple instructions of these things just don't exist. We don't help people. We don't give them the tools that could support them. And don't get me wrong, hopefully it doesn't get to that point for people that they feel that way, but it is happening. It does happen.
Yeah, it does happen.
And redundancy, I'm sure there are companies that, give the full process and really are supportive even through that. But what about the ones who aren't? What about what happens then when you get redundant? Where do I go next? What if you've not been working there for very long and you don't have a payout?
Right, exactly. What
Then
does that
what?
look like? I know, exactly. There isn't really. And again, I'm sure we could start on another subject.
Yeah.
The fact that there's not enough mental health support,
No.
funding, or any support, full stop. And so, people are going through quite a lot at the moment.
Yeah, they are.
Food prices are going up. A government, and we've got the US government getting involved with all sorts of things, trying to change the way that life is. And and there's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Where does the next penny come from? And
Right.
how do we support somebody that's going through a crisis?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could be going through a crisis at home. Somebody, your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your daughter, your son.
Mm-hmm.
They could all be going through something.
Yeah.
Where's the support network?
Right. I think that is it, isn't it? Back to lack of support. That's exactly why I created the ADHD Creative, because there was no support for me. There was no neurodivergent support for high masking adults who were desperately challenged in the workplace, but fearful of how to ask for the right support from a HR perspective as well. I've seen both sides of it too. I don't think that helps either. But I just felt that we need to create something that's accessible, something that people can afford, something that people can attend, something in the evenings. And that's why I created the Life Lounge, because it means that people can come to it. It's small, it's a safe space, there's no judgment. People can feel comfortable, and you're with other people that you can probably really relate to. There's nothing better than when you really connect with somebody because they're like, shit, I feel like that too. Like, right? Like, exactly. I know that feeling too. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a hard time. It's a hard time for everybody right now. I feel it. I'm sure you feel it too.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why we set up the menopause group.
Yes.
For exactly the same thing. That what support is out there for women. Safe space for women. All of that. Yeah. There's not enough support.
There's not. But the menopause group was a great idea, and that went really well. Everybody loved their Prosecco with their strawberries in.
Yes, they did.
Their snack. And the next one's coming up soon, right?
7th of November.
Yeah, that's not too far away. Where does the time go?
I know, exactly.
Who's coming in for that one? Is there
Lucy, she's a menopause nutritionist. So she's going to come and talk to us about how our bodies change and what that looks like, and our nutrition and what we need and all those kinds of things. I'm looking forward to it. It should be really good.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we've got a blend of education as well as that safe space. It works well.
Yeah, it does. It does. It works well. I mean, this is a great space here at the Mental Wellbeing Group, because it's just so cozy, inviting, and you can come and just be yourself, right? Take your shoes off if you want. You can hang your coat up. Yeah, sit on the sofa. You're not sitting in a stiff chair.
No, it's all that. And I agree. It's that safe space, and it's that relaxed, safe space. As soon as you walk in, you feel it. It's really lovely.
That's probably just me and Safi are really loud. Like, hey! And they have people all the time that are like, oh my God, I could hear you guys from down there. And we're like, oh, sorry.
I used to get told off for laughing too badly, honestly.
But how bad is that? Laugh as loud as you want.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You shout if you want to shout. Who cares?
Right, exactly. As long as it's my work, what difference does it make?
Right.
And not only that, but if you can hear me laughing, then I'm hoping that makes you smile.
Yes. And we're bringing out the, dopamine, we're making ourselves feel good. So we're going to work better because we feel good. People just don't get like, no, it's not. Exactly. Oh God, what a world we live in.
I know, exactly.
So tell me a breakdown of somebody wants a mediator, somebody wants to get in touch with you. Like, what reasons would they get in touch with you for, and how could they contact you?
So as soon as something starts being a niggle,
anything at all, and like nothing is off limits, it could be
anything.
Okay.
It could be anything. And I use when I could do my networking, you've heard me before say, when Bob's fallen out soon because she's taking the last hot chocolate knob, come and talk to me, because you can guarantee even that can trigger people. Oh my God.
Is there a common theme that employers reach out to you for?
Yes, it's normally communication.
So the big one. Yeah,
it's normally what I get is so-and-so is behaving like this, and they're digging their heels in, or they're not doing well, or they're being obstructive. Okay, what it comes down to is, okay, so how are they feeling? How are they being heard? And what is it they need? 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. Do you ever see that light bulb click in a manager's head when you are then in the room? So this person's been desperately trying to explain but can't explain how they feel, but then you're in the room and they're able to perhaps more comfortably explain, and then the manager's like, fuck, I didn't realise.
Exactly. So I had a recent one where I had 2 parties in the room, and she was explaining how she felt about a certain situation. The manager was still doing the but I didn't see it like this, I saw it like this. And I kept thinking, you're not hearing what she's trying to say. As soon as I reframed it to say, have you heard how this makes so and so feel, and they said, "Oh, actually," you could almost see that light bulb moment of, "Oh my God,
Shit."
And it was almost "Oh, okay, I get it. Right, okay, so this is where our starting point is now then."
Yeah.
And sometimes it's me having for me to reframe it for how they need to hear it. That will make that difference.
How can people get in touch with you?
So if there is a niggle or anything like that you think isn't getting resolved, give me a shout. That goes for employers too. And it doesn't need to be a formal mediation. It can just be a facilitated conversation. Again, just a step back from a formal mediation. Because sometimes I think people go, "Oh no, don't want mediation.
Yeah.
It sounds far too formal."
Yeah.
Actually, having a facilitated conversation is exactly the same thing, just not as formal.
Would this be before an investigation would take place, or like after an investigation?
No, before. So really early on, I
Okay.
would facilitate conversations.
So it's almost like instead of an investigation.
Yeah.
I guess not all situations would be relevant for it. For like if there was like a theft or something like that.
No. It's normally about something that's happened and people feeling
like the communication side of it.
Yeah, they're not happy for whatever reason and they're not being heard.
Yeah.
So I have a website, ttinsightssolutions.com. And I'm also very noisy on LinkedIn, as you know. I'm on there a lot. So my number and all my details are on there too.
And we'll pop them on the screen here at the bottom as well so you can see them.
Perfect. So by all means reach out and try and find me. You'll find me one way or another, especially on LinkedIn. I'm all over that. But yes, anything like that, or even HR and insights, obviously the colouring images. I love that too. So feel free to reach out.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I really appreciate it. And before we finish, I have my signature question to ask you.
Okay.
I don't know if you're prepared for this one.
Go on.
So your life is a country song. So your whole life, if you had to sum it up in a country song, what would you call the title of a country song?
Oh.
She's like, I'm going to have to.
Yeah, well, I'm a reflector anyway, so I'll try and find one quickly off the top of my head. You're all gonna love me.
I love that. I love that with the accent. Y'all gonna love me. Yeah. Why? Because
I'm pretty amazing.
Yeah. Shout out.
Absolutely.
You are amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So are you. Just turned into a bit of a mutual gratification.
Yeah. We're sharing the love, compassion, kindness. That's
Absolutely.
what we're all about.
Yes, definitely. Thanks, Meta, for having me.
Thank you. And thanks so much for watching, guys. You can catch next week's episode on Monday at 7 p.m. We'll see you then. And for some exciting news, we'll be hosting our first fundraiser, Unmasquerade, on the 21st of November at the Brampton Holt Pub in Northampton. It's going to be an epic night of music, surprise entertainment, and a raffle with some amazing prizes up for grabs. So head on over to our webpage at www.mensawellbeing.com to find out more, or check out our socials. Thank you for listening to Have You Meta? New episodes drop every week on YouTube at the ADHD Creative Hub. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're based out of the Mensa Wellbeing Group, Northamptonshire Centre for Neurodivergent Wellbeing. Check out our website for our services, upcoming events, and space hire.
Have you met her?